I leave the show, and now it's late at night. It's like 11 o'clock or something, and I'm nervous.
Full
as
pockets
all get
full
out.
of merch cash.
Nervous as all get out. Loads of cash on me. Loads of cash.
Just coins jingling.
Yeah, I'm jangling around. Coins rolling out of my pant legs. But I'm walking, and there is a gentleman on the corner that I have to walk by, and I'm like, oh gosh, he doesn't look happy about life. And I kind of meander like I give him wide
berth.
Wide berth. I give him wide berth.
What word were you gonna say?
I never know if it's wide. Berth was what I felt like saying, but then girth came to mind, and I'm like, it can't be wide girth.
Wide girth.
It can't be
listen,
wide
folks, we've
girth.
named the podcast. Thank you.
A podcast hosted by two white comedians, a stereotype about the blandest ingredients that childhoods didn't prepare them for life. Sexual tension you can cut with a knife. Podcast. Two white comedians. Podcast. Two white comedians.
All right, we're back.
Hello.
Back again. Unseasoned podcast. You knew that from the title screen, but
All black everything. Look at you.
that's true. I did a very fun thing today, which is I put on a working man's Carhartt shirt and then sat at a computer all day. So, You know what I didn't do? You're in frame. All right.
Do you need
Sit
me
in my
to
spot.
Sit.
Yep.
Leave it in. Leave
Everyone
it in.
gets to see
This
the
is
whole
hot pod.
thing.
Deep
It
in.
was a little bit. We gotta bring it down just a tad. There we go. We gotta get Griffey's cock.
You're surrounded by cocks.
Yeah.
It's
All right. That's good. All right. My head lands. Can you look in there? I feel like I've got to make sure.
conscious.
Yeah.
You're in there. You're not centered, but you're good.
Oh yeah, I'll center it after.
Your head is
Below the cocks.
It's making your logo all red.
That's okay. That means it's focused on me.
Ooh.
Is everyone excited for the hot video talk?
Ooh.
Yeah, I put on a Carhartt shirt and then I set up a video podcast studio like a working man. Like all working men do.
Do you have one of those pencils that you carve? You have to use a knife to sharpen it?
I like those in concept, but they're never sharp enough. I don't know how you would possibly write something.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't really care for them. Just use a regular pencil.
Well, but if you're like a roofer, it'll roll off the roof. Then what do you do?
Oh, they're flat. I see. I guess I get
I'm
that.
teaching you this
I
shit.
guess I get that.
I'm teaching you this shit.
How much roofing have you done?
My dad was a carpenter. I actually have done a fair amount of like underpaid work.
Roofing is like
not roofing. I haven't done any roofing.
Yeah, roofing's like one of the few things that I haven't done. I've done pretty
Gotcha.
much everything else.
Including methamphetamines.
Yeah. Did not do any type of construction work I worked at Wendy's.
You missed an opportunity.
meth.
Wow. Affording meth on
Talk about
Wendy's.
fast food. Holy shit.
Who has the joke? Somebody had a great joke that's like oh Jesus Christ, I gotta go mute that now. We're a mess here. Hold on. God damn it. This is gonna be now we're editing.
I see a lot of cough drop rappers. Have you been ill?
No, that's from a previous illness. I just have our world is just wall to wall shit right now, so we have no time to do any deep cleaning. Gotcha. I don't know where those came from. Anyways, you didn't do meth at Wendy's. Somebody has a great joke about how like teachers should be allowed to do heroin because if they can do like heroin on a teacher's budget, they should be teaching economics or something like that to their kids. I can't remember who it is though.
Yeah, I didn't do meth at Wendy's, but I was on meth at Wendy's. It's a long-lasting drug. It sticks with you for a while.
A couple days.
Yeah. I have done Coke at Dairy Queen. I've done Coke in the bathroom at Dairy Queen.
Again, wow. I do think that that is one thing that you start to factor in where you're like, I now know I'm never going to do LSD because it's like 8 hours, right?
Yeah. It's I can't think of a time I'll be able to do it for the rest of my life now. Well, I guess until like my kids are out
these
of the
kids
house.
that presently do not exist.
We're in that phase. I'm sure you've experienced this, like when you were first trying to have kids, where it's like you get the late period, and you're like, last time we got all excited, and then it came, and now we're in that kind of like, is it too early to be excited? It's always,
sure.
You know what I mean? Like it takes a good bit. But
have you? I assume you have not consulted with a doctor of any kind.
No.
Common advice, and I'm not trying to tell you to change the podcast content. Common advice is to wait until 13 weeks to start announcing it to the world.
13, yeah. I mean, we're not out there.
No, I mean, we're not talking into a microphone right now. No, this is only going to reach.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying we
tens
are
of millions of people
with child right now, but
right.
it's that
you did
early
actually,
excitement.
In an early episode, you did basically say, like, we're going to have a kid really soon, because you might not. You might have to be these people.
That's fair.
You might have to do in vitro. You'll have to save up till you're not even fertile at all anymore for that.
Yeah. We're not really. I don't think that. I mean, I guess we haven't had like a long discussion about it, but I don't think if we can't do it on our own, we're gonna like push and try to get.
Sure.
Test tubes and things out. We're not.
I think that I don't think you have to. I don't think the major expense is buying test tubes. I don't think you do it at all.
I'm really nervous about the test tubes.
I don't think you do it yet. What do I do with this Bunsen burner? I don't know. It took us 6 months the first time, and I think 4 months the second time.
They say once you've had a kid, it's like easier after that, is what I've heard anyway.
I definitely think, and I'm speaking on my wife's behalf confidently without her, I think that the delivery is easier. I don't know the conception is easier because you're usually older too.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess depending on when you start with the first, you know what I mean?
But yeah, I think that like there's something that happens with a lady's hips. Listen, if you didn't come here for sex ed, for reproductive health information, you came to the wrong place, because this is mostly a reproductive health podcast. But something happens with the lady's hips that make it easier to.
They widen.
Push the baby out, yeah. But it's like it's not like you break bones. It just like, I don't understand how it just happens. Because it even happens, by the way, leading up to, my wife was like walking around feeling like she had just like a turd hanging out in the days leading up to the first, and then the second one she kind of felt the same way, but it was early.
Yeah.
So she's like, nah. She didn't even say anything about it. She's like, no way.
Gotcha.
And then she came very early, like not scary early, but like. What she was one day, she got born one day after. If she had been born the day before, she would have had a mandatory stay in the NICU unit, no matter what.
Wow!
No matter what level of health she came out at, and because she was born that one day later, we didn't have to do that. She was perfectly healthy and like normal size and all that stuff, so we were fine. But we found that out in the they were like, if you would have come in yesterday, we would have had to. And I think it's like when the labor starts, not when the baby's born also.
And if she'd have come on the due date, then she'd have been giant. If she was normal size.
Well, I mean, there's a range of normal, right?
Be giving birth to a toddler.
Yeah. Our oldest was a big broad.
How heavy?
Over 8 pounds. I think 7-ish is average, and she was long too, and she's tall now, so.
Yeah. So they say you double their height at whatever their height is at 2, you double it. At least that's what it used to be. I know my niece, she was tall. Now she's like
going to be 14 feet tall.
6'1" or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea what her height was at 2.
Gotcha.
I'm not, the projections they've said are like 5'5". That's about how tall my wife is. My bet would be our daughter gets a little bit taller than that.
Yeah.
My wife is taller than every woman in her family by quite a bit, and taller than every woman in my family. So Either there's a different dad in the picture. I'd love to meet this man. He's created a beautiful child. Or, or I think humans are getting taller and we're pumping our kid full of steroids is another thing.
Yeah, I come from a pretty tall family. Everybody in my family's tall.
My family is all the men are at the average height at the time that they reach their peak height.
Gotcha.
But that peak height, so I'm a little taller than my dad, but he was average height when he was newly an adult, and I was average height. I'm trying to write a joke about this because I'm I'm at an unremarkable height. It's I'm not even I'm actually 5'11", not the 5'11" that's actually 5'7".
Oh, yeah.
I'm 5'10" 3/4", I should say. But I don't lie and say 6 foot. I've never had to use a dating app either.
Yeah.
But nobody would. I don't think anyone would be I'm short, but nobody would think. You'd have to be short to think I'm tall.
Yeah.
You have to be really tall to think I'm short.
That's that's fair. I am.
I think you're on the verge of tall, but you have bad posture.
I'm exactly 6 feet tall. I actually have a joke about this. I have bad posture because I don't have the confidence to be my actual height.
That's funny.
I try to I hunker down.
You're the type of guy that would on a dating profile you'd go 5'10", even though you're 6 foot.
Yeah. How have you been?
Oh, what a transition.
Are you good?
This guy's good. I did I went to Spokane this weekend.
Yeah.
Which was we haven't talked about this on the podcast, nor do we need to dig too deep in it, but it's one of the first times I've been over there since my Uncle Bob died. And it's weird because I used to have lunch with him one day every time I would go, and so it's still you kind of go, you're there's a part of me I will tell you that's oh great, I get to sleep in, I don't have to worry about coordinating. A guy that doesn't drive, lives completely on the other side of town, exclusively ate in his retired years, he'd eat food at home that he made, which was not great. I mean, he wasn't much of a cook. Or we'd go to Red Robin or some burger place. So it's I like that stuff, but it's a little repetitive every single time I go to Spokane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I miss him. I didn't get to link up with my cousin. I actually got to text him because I have a cousin. So I have a cousin that's my actual cousin, and then his kid would be my second cousin, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
However that works. Let's call him my second cousin. My cousin is 10 plus years older than I am, so it's almost like an uncle relationship.
Yeah.
And his kid is 10 or 12 years younger than me, so it's almost neither one feels truly like a cousin to cousin peer relationship to me.
Did you have any cousins that were your age or around your age?
I did. I don't anymore.
Oof.
Yeah, nice.
Sorry.
Actually, that's I know, you got a real Jess Everett story. Actually, I do. My dad's side of the family, he had two brothers. One of them had no kids. The other one had kids, but they were estranged. So, one of them I met, and he is no longer with us for reasons that
Unrelated?
I was lied to as a kid or as a young adult.
Yeah.
That I've since pieced together, much like when you're oh yeah, the tooth fairy isn't real. Yeah. Yeah, well, we don't need to air any dirty laundry, but we'll say that there was an incident.
Uh-oh.
And but so this is my youngest cousin. No, that's not true. Now I'm thinking about family members. I do. They're all there's tragedy at my generation.
Gotcha.
If you go a half a generation the other direction, things are a little bit better.
Yeah.
And a half a generation earlier, things are a little bit better. But there's problems all over the place.
Yeah.
Anyways, he used to work at Spokane Comedy Club for a brief period of time. He was trying to become a comic for I'm talking single digit open mics, I believe.
Yeah.
He had seen me a bunch, and you see me
Did
do
I
comedy.
meet him?
He might have. He looks like
I feel like I met him the first time we did Spokane together.
That could be. He was he would have been he looks like the kid that played Charlie Bartlett. That kid died.
Golly.
I know. Well, not my cousin. My cousin's still alive. So since nobody knows his name, I don't have to ruin his resume. Got a job at Spokane Comedy Club, and I'm like, hey man, just don't fuck this up, please, because it's like a place that I care about, and does open mics. There's some, wild, normal, new jokes. If you're a Spokane guy, you probably don't have the same sensitivities as a guy like you and I. That's fine. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm not worried about that. I had a friend film his set just so I could see it. I was just curious. And so then he gets a job like expo/security, calls in sick one day. Where do you think that guy, what would be the dumbest place, Spokane Comedy Club, to go drink heavily that night?
Oh, maybe the bar that's owned by the same people that is like 2 doors down from the club.
That would be, I think that would be the top
frequented by all of the other employees.
The entire staff converges on it at the end of the night, including the manager. That
with cameras that are...
Yes. So, yes, my cousin made a dumb choice, my second cousin. And so I didn't get to see him. I normally see them, but he just got a job he just got a, I don't know what you call it, like a journeyman, or he's like in a union. He got
just for now. We'll see how long that lasts.
He got bumped up to some level that's important, but I'm not familiar enough with that process to know the significance of all that stuff.
I think union guys can call in sick.
I think if they show up to the job site drunk at the time when they're supposed to be home sick, it might be a problem. So go to Spokane, fun shows. Danny Jollis, you know him? Never heard of him?
No.
Really interesting. Really funny comic. Created a special that's super interesting. It's like choose your own adventure. So through the whole thing, he's talking about how he's lying to the audience.
Yeah.
And then when you're watching it, at the end, you get to choose which ending you want, like the lie or the truth, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Hard to I thought it would be hard to film. I think it was more simple than he just did the whole show both nights is what he told me.
The complication I'm running into in my brain is what is it, like a button? What is this? What platform is this on? How do you?
It's on YouTube, and I believe what it is at the end of a YouTube video they'll say like do you want to watch this, or you can suggest videos.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of maybe the problem is that you haven't done anything on social media ever. Mm-hmm. But at the end of a video, you can say like, "Do you want to watch this next?" You can choose which video, and so I think at the end there's probably just some protracted pause of there's no video, and it's like, "Do you want to go to this one or this one? These are your choices." And, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
that is interesting. I've not heard of any comic doing that.
Yeah, me either. Hang on, we got motion at the porch, folks. We're gonna go. I had a day where I was like up here. I was up here, and oh god, it's just the mailman. I'm like trying to record a podcast, and my phone comes up with this notification, and then it just keeps coming. And I'm like, well, that. Normally I only get it when my dog's outside.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is she outside? I pull it up. Someone's standing there knocking on the door. My dog's losing her mind. I'm trying to record a podcast. And then they're like I'm trying to like wait them out so they stop so my dog will stop barking because I don't really want to answer the door. I'm busy. 2, I don't. And it's like someone in like a city uniform. And I go down and they go, oh, just letting you know, this is like after 3 minutes of my dog losing her mind. They've been knocking the whole time. And I'm like, sorry, I'm busy. Do I need it? Do you need me for anything? And they're like, oh no, I'm just letting you know we got a trainee. And I'm like, okay, I don't give a fuck. Why are we knocking for?
Are they telling everybody that, like, are they going door to door letting us know?
Well, they had the guy checking our meter or something like that. But it's not like I have a catalog of who is and isn't on the.
Yeah.
Two people came, one person came. I don't know. Please don't step in dog shit. I'm sorry if you're, It's very annoying. That's that kind of stuff too. It's like if you're napping.
Oh yeah,
and especially like you don't have a dog, but a dog is like they just think they're protecting you.
In their minds they're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. So anyways, Spokane is cool. We had a funny moment. I organized I jokingly called it a Proud Boys meeting. It was all of my friends that I've accumulated in Spokane that are comics, and then one guy that's not a comic. But it was funny. I called it that, and then the 2 black guys I invited did not show up. So it did just look like it was like 5 white dudes that live in Spokane and me. But so it was at Lumberbeard Brewing, which is theoretically walking distance from where the club is.
Okay.
And I say theoretical not because I'm fat and I can't, or because there's some big elevation change, but because you have to go through like the second act of Mad Max to get there. It's just, I mean, there's a part of Spokane when you get off the exit where you're in your car and you're like, I feel unsafe and I'm in a car with a locked door. Mm-hmm. You have to walk through that part. And so I was like, good. And that part's like 3/4 of the way to the brewery. So you're like, well, I'm not going to turn around and go get my car. So I go the full way. And then when I got there, I was like, I'm going to be buying, if I buy any beer to bring home or merch or whatever, period. But also, even if I'm just walking myself, I don't really want to walk back through. And there's just no alternative routes. Mm-hmm. Like, I went the route that I thought was safer, and it was still, you're just like, oh my God, like it's just.
Did you have any interactions, or was it just a bunch of people?
No, I did have one thing that had kind of freaked. The previous night I had it was not an interaction, but it was a thing where a guy, like, I walked past him and he immediately turned and started walking. And you're like, ugh, and I just crossed the street. Because I knew, what I knew is, if he crossed the street at the same time as I crossed the street, which is at a random spot, not at a crosswalk, we had a problem.
Yep.
So he didn't follow me after that. And I don't know if I just was close call. In his, like when you're playing a video game and the guard is going one. I don't know if I just happened to walk past him when it was his time to turn, or if he did that and me walking made him realize that I was like feeling tense. And because I may not be remarkably tall, but I am big enough that I present a perceived threat to people that, like, that dude would rather go after someone who there's no chance that they're going to beat his ass than someone who he doesn't know I'm a soft baby boy, but anyways, so that was in my mind a little bit. And then I did have a couple moments where I was like, this guy, here's another thing. I'm in sweatpants. I got a beard. I'm like not incredibly well dressed.
You could be one of them.
I could pass, except for I'm drinking a goddamn iced coffee. There's no homeless people drinking iced coffees. Okay. That's like hot coffee. Maybe cold, previously hot coffee. Sure. Not with active ice. Not with active duty ice, okay? There's no chance.
I just did a show in Olympia, in like downtown Olympia, and fun show. It was at the Center for Performing Arts. Mm-hmm. That was nice.
Washington
I had an interaction with a woman. She came up to me at the merch table and just
a lot of merch table interactions.
Yeah. And this is the first time I've ever experienced this. I've worried about this with some of my material. I have a joke about depression. I deal with depression. I have a joke about MS, riddled with sclerosis. Sure. Just lousy with sclerosis.
Several scleroses.
And so I do those jokes. They do fine. It's a fun set. After the show, this lady comes up to me and she's like, I really didn't like the depression and the MS material. And I normally in a situation like that, I'm quick to just apologize.
Sure.
I'm quick to apologize when I've done nothing wrong. And then afterwards,
you have a borderline Canadian threshold for what you'll apologize for.
I just want to get out of confrontation. Yeah. I've never lived with the privilege of appearing as a threatening individual, so I've just gotten used to trying to squash it as quickly as possible. But this time,
you were gonna fight this lady?
I was gonna punch her in the mouth. No, but I've dealt with things enough where I look back on it. I'm like, oh, you shouldn't have apologized like that. So this time, I held my ground and I just said, okay. And she was visibly disappointed that I didn't like.
She was looking to spar.
She was looking for something like an apology or something, but I'm like, I have both of those things. Do you want me to just be sad all the time and never deal with it?
Sure.
Or should I, like, am I allowed? Do you think I'm allowed to make a joke about a thing I deal with on a regular basis?
I will say, so I'm going to refute that argument even though I agree with your point.
Okay.
I don't think there's actually a ton of cathartic value in making jokes about stuff the way people, and I say that mainly so that people will stop going on stage and going, you don't have to laugh, this is actually my therapy, or this is cheaper than therapy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's like a very small amount of cathartic value for the person doing it. And I think it's like for very specific, like, acute trauma, as opposed to like you're talking about like chronic illness essentially in both cases, right? Yeah, so like I don't think that your depression gets better because you talk about depression on stage. Your MS is not getting better because of what you talk about.
It's certainly not.
These things might be linked, the MS and the depression. Do you think? I'm asking.
Possibly.
You sit down and you're like, you start counting your scleroses and you're like, I'm overrun with these scleroses. I'm depressed.
No, but I mean, it's not even a thing where like it's cathartic for me to tell these jokes. It's just a thing I deal with. I'm going to make it funny.
By the way, I'm not saying that you have to have some noble cause to tell a joke, because I don't think that's true. I think the joke can be, I think I should be allowed to make multiple sclerosis jokes, and I do make them about you to your face a lot. and maybe that's part of the reason I feel that way.
But it's not like you're getting up on stage and making an MS joke.
Sure. And yeah, I mean, I would probably, but even if I did, I actually do think I should be like allowed. Who gives a shit about allowed? But but yeah, my point was, I'm going to be on your side no matter what, because I like the joke, and you're also a sufferer of both these things. So like, even under the rules that I don't abide by, I think you check all the boxes to be able to tell these jokes.
Yeah.
I don't abide by those, but I do think the idea that like this is somehow going to make you less sad is probably inaccurate. Jesus, how many devices are going to go off? I got text, I got goddamn mailman, we had a computer, we got your phone.
What the hell?
AI's taking over. Hopefully this podcast soon. Anyways, yeah, so regardless, we can move on. I'm always like annoyed when people talk about comedy like it's a therapy session, because it's absolutely not and shouldn't be. And the only person who's ever really been able to make it work is Gary Goldman, and he did it a lot more cleverly than these dickheads that talk about it as though... Anyways, my own personal diatribe. Go ahead. Let's talk about this fucking idiot.
No, but I got her. She just kind of like faded away into the night.
She disappeared like Back to the Future.
Yeah. But yeah, I've never dealt with that before. The most I deal with is people with MS coming up to me and like talking to me about their story and thanking me for talking about it, because so few people actually talk about it. And it's nice sometimes to like laugh about a thing that's not really funny.
I think it's definitely cathartic for some audience members.
Yeah.
To be clear. Yeah. Can I ask you a question? Because we did a show a couple of years ago, and we talked about this on the drive, and I'm curious if you had a joke, maybe still have a joke about how all the money will go to MS research. And then you would say, I don't, it's not an organization. I just have,
Google.
Yeah. I have MS and Google.
Yeah.
And then I remember we were at a show in Prineville, Oregon.
Gosh. Yeah.
And a woman who had she'd been so recently diagnosed with MS.
Not even technically diagnosed yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But she had a tattoo, an MS tattoo already. She had
a shirt.
A shirt prior to buying a shirt from you that's not related to MS.
Yeah.
You were selling merch, and you said that the research, it went to MS research.
Yeah.
And she missed the turn and the misdirect completely and just came to you, and this lady probably would have bought 15 shirts from me, but instead she goes, I want to support a good cause, this drug addict.
She did buy a shirt, and I didn't have it. And you brought it up during this interaction. You turned to me and you said, I don't think she heard the full joke. And I didn't have it in me to like tell her, like break down, like, no, I don't actually give any of this money to MS research. It was just a joke. But I did feel bad if the only reason she bought the shirt was because of
Can you do
the
me a
thought
favor?
that it...
Can you do me and society a favor? Can you donate $25 to MS Research?
I don't know who to donate to.
We'll find an organization, folks.
I'll try. I'll Google it.
This guy.
I'll look it up. Maybe. No, I'm not going to. No.
Wow.
I have money I have to spend on my own MS.
Wow, folks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Fuck everybody. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to talk about it on the pod. There was another interaction I had at that show that I want to talk to you about in private after the pod.
Why not? Oh, at the show. Which one?
At the same show. Same
Olympia
merch table.
or Prineville?
Olympia.
Okay.
Olympia, yeah.
Okay.
But it's, that was
I actually
uncomfortable.
You know what? I have an interaction I would like to talk to you about it in private, which I hope is not the same person.
All right. Well, if we ever have a Patreon, you're in for it, sister.
Mine is not even. Mine will not be on the
This
Patreon.
would not be either. I don't want anybody in the public to hear about this. No, it was uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable.
Oh, this is going to be fun because we'll have competing uncomfortable stories.
Yeah. And you kind of, I mean, we don't have to continue talking about a thing that we'll never reveal publicly, but yeah, it was it sold a lot of merch though. Sold a lot of merch.
Mine decidedly did not. You did, or the interaction did?
I did.
Oh, good.
I did, yeah.
I've never been asked to do that show, despite being very good friends with the headliner, which is odd.
I don't know that headliner requested me. It's a person I always feel like the last time I work with them is for real the last time.
No, he likes you. I know it. We talk about it every time I get a progress report on you every time. So do you have more from Olympia?
No. Okay. Oh, the reason I brought up Olympia, you brought up walking through dangerous ground. Olympia at night, downtown Olympia. Whew.
There's some hair.
Whew. Everywhere you turn. A lot of alleys in Olympia. I had to park like 3 blocks away from the place.
Sure.
And I was on my trek from my car to the venue. Zero problems.
Sure.
It was a nice, safe trip. But I've got like a big carry-on. You know what I mean? Who knows what's in there? Could be money.
Yeah.
Or food or something. Drugs, maybe.
Could be. Kilos on kilos.
Yeah. So I leave the show, and now it's late at night. It's like 11 o'clock or something, and I'm nervous. As all get out.
Full of merch cash.
Nervous as all get out. Loads of cash on me. Loads of cash.
Just coins jingling.
Yeah, I'm jangling around. Coins rolling out of my pant legs. But I'm walking, and there is a gentleman on the corner that I have to walk by, and I'm like, oh gosh, he doesn't look happy about life. And I kind of meander like I give him wide
berth.
Wide berth. I give him wide berth.
What word were you gonna say?
I never know if it's wide. Berth was what I felt like saying, but then girth came to mind, and I'm like, it can't be wide girth.
Wide girth.
It can't be
listen,
wide
folks, we've
girth.
named the podcast. Thank you.
But I cross him. No interaction. I'm not looking at him. Yeah. I'm not looking this guy in the eyes.
You'll turn to stone.
So I evade. I get around him, but then I hear him hurl as hard as he can. Well, who knows? Who knows how hard this guy can throw? This is the first time I've seen him throw. True. This could be light for him. He might have been a major league pitcher at league picture at some point. He might have been a picture of a baseball player at some point. But I hear him just huck what
his name is. Hold on, his name is Homeless Wagner.
I have no idea if that's a real thing or not. But he hucks like what sounds like a tin can or something, and it lands. It sounds like he hucked it at me or at the wall by him, because I'm close enough. I've just crossed him. And I hear him just like, huh, and chuck a can. I don't know if it came near me. I got out of there, buddy. He did not chase after me, but I got out of there.
The idea of you scurrying with a suitcase.
I did pick up. I put a little pep in my step. and I shuffled around. I got this big bag. I can't run. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I can't sprint with it.
Did you lose some stability on the wheels? Were you going that fast?
It tipped. Yeah, it started doing like the rocking back and forth thing behind me. But I got out of there. I got into my car and locked those doors, Daddy. I called my wife immediately. It's just in case this is the last time we talk. I love you so much.
Meanwhile, this guy threw it the opposite direction.
Yeah, you tell them I'm a hero.
He dropped it on accident.
Maybe I did make him nervous. He's like, "Oh shit!" and dropped his can. Oh man, no, but I got out of there alive, thankfully. That was good. I'm glad we're both safe. I'm glad we're both safe.
So I made the decision in Spokane to not sell merch on the Late Show and drive home. I will say Danny Jawless, has great merch. Mm-hmm. Was crushing me, and then there was another thing that I'll talk to you about on the podcast.
Oh, I think you did.
Oh yeah, there was some let's call it etiquette issues that led to, I believe, reduced merch sales. Which sounds like sour grapes. I will say that, but I have a lot of data to suggest that I don't think I've ever sold less than double what I sold this weekend.
Yeah, that's what a great spot for merch.
Great spot for merch. Now I got to wait another year to get out there, but
my gosh. Yeah.
But missed my shot this year to make money. But anyways, drive home. Actually, so it's daylight savings time on Sunday, which is when I'm driving.
Oh, it was a rough one.
That's tough for me because it's like you travel. I get home at what my body says is 3:30. But I'm going to be waking up at the time that we have to wake up to go to breakfast. So I get like 3 hours of sleep.
Whew.
And my wife, very nice. She gets my daughter my oldest was with my mom having a sleepover. The youngest is still there. She gets her up completely, changes her, gets her ready to go, and then wakes me up. So it gets me the maximum extra
what
minutes.
What a sweet lady.
Very nice. But our dog at about 6 a.m. had been, rustling and asking to, she wanted up, and my wife let her out, and then she kind of scratched at the door to come back in a couple times. My wife was, heartless and said, "Fuck you." Mm-hmm. And I wake up and I'm like, I thought I changed the diaper thing before I left for Spokane. It smells a little shitty in here.
Gosh.
And I go out and I'm like, yeah, it does, maybe I make sure the diaper thing's closed. I'm like, it does smell a little bit, but you get out into an environment and you start to kind of acclimate, right?
Yep.
So my wife is doing something with my daughter, getting her ready, and I had let my dog out, and I come back in and I see, for the second time in this podcast's history, a big pile of shit in our living room. First time it was in the doorway. This time was in the living room. The reason it only smelled a little bit shitty, because dog shit has a way of just completely overwhelming a home. But it had sat for like shit. 2.5 hours.
Ooh.
So
this is a dry aged.
It was like a pudding when you're you get the film on top,
Oh yeah.
That wasn't an almost vomit. That was an acid reflux burp, not an almost vomit. I don't know if it'll be on camera, but yeah. So I wake up, 3 hours of sleep after 4.5 hours of driving, after performing and all that stuff, to immediately just have to be on my hands and knees with a carpet shampooer and a fucking paper towels, cleaning dog shit, and. Yeah, it was. That is a what you might call a rude awakening. That is rude awakening.
Oh yeah, that's no good. That's no good. I think I had something else I wanted to talk about here. I have been. I took up chess.
Oh yeah, you told me about it.
I took up chess. Have you ever played chess? You've never been a chess guy, right?
I've never. I mean, I've like played the game. I know what all the pieces do, but I've never. I'm aware of the combinations of strategy enough to go, I just don't have the bandwidth to care about this.
Gotcha. I'm hooked on it now. I've played chess a few times throughout my life. Mm-hmm. I've never been good. I'm still not good. The wife beats me all the time. My goal...
Unrelated to chess. She beats the shit out of you.
Please send help. no.
That's why he called her with the homeless guy. He's like, I've seen what you can do in a ring.
No, my goal now. I don't think I'll ever be good at chess, and it's a game that you learn it and you're like, oh, this isn't bad, and then you play somebody that knows even just a little bit better than you, or knows a little more than you, knows the game better. It doesn't matter.
It's a wonder.
It doesn't
this guy
matter.
Can't beat an 11-year-old at chess.
Just scraping by in life. But I've been playing chess.com. So it's like you can.
Is that how you found it? Did you just type chess.com?
No, I had another app and I started playing that, and then I'm telling other people, and they're like, chess.com, you got to play chess.com, get on chess.com. So I get this app, chess.com. It's got lessons on it. You can play people from all over the world. I'm probably playing children that have just learned the game that are just absolutely crushing me.
When I was a kid, there was
Yes.
a website that I found I typed in girlskissing.com, and there was a website called girlskissing.com, which was the first internet porn I ever encountered.
Well, I got okay, side note. I got caught.
Side note would have been a good second name, like another name for this podcast.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I was caught not in the act of watching porn. I've never been caught.
We're a little too close to you playing with 12-year-olds for this to be a comfortable.
We didn't have to make that connection. I've never been caught in the act of looking at or interacting physically with pornography. I have been caught with like history,
Sure.
And my mom, this was like early in my internet days. I was still not familiar with internet history. I didn't know, and it was like this was like the pop-ups. Oh, pop-ups all the time. And there was a and there was a lesbian video pop-up that came up, and my mom was like, why would you be interested in lesbians having sex? Like, you have no chance.
You're not even gay?
You're not even a gay woman. Why? You're close. No, but she was so confused. Such an innocent, good lady. Had no idea what would be the appeal of two women together.
She had no idea what kind of monster she had girthed.
Kissing and grinding. And
what kind of monster she had girthed. What kind of monster she had girthed.
I was a big baby. I've never stayed big.
All right. Let's get back to chess. Tell me more about this chess.
Oh, yeah. So I'm playing this game, and I'm like, I feel like I'm doing better now. So I am, we can talk about this. I'm just about to come up on a year without weed.
Yeah.
Of my own doing. I'm not because of probation, which was my last time I quit.
And I'm going to say this
probation.
honestly, with no sarcasm, something you do not bring up almost ever. I mean, like when there's a milestone, but not like, you're not like, oh God, it's been fucking 11 months without weed. I'm losing my mind.
Oh, yeah. No,
I'm aware of it, but it's not something I think about because you don't bring it up all the time.
Yeah. No, this has been good. Has been good. I still do miss it sometimes, but the wife won't have it. She does not want. I didn't realize like what I was putting her through when I was high all the time. Just because I thought that I had
stupid.
Just my anxiety and like dwelling on things and just constantly being a nervous wreck.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that I just had anxiety. I quit smoking pot. Very rarely do I get anxious. I'm not a confident guy, you know what I mean? I'm not hustling. I'm not moving and shaking through the world with confidence, but like I haven't had a bout of anxiety in at least a year now. And I didn't realize, and I don't think even she realized until I wasn't on it all the time, and because I was like high constantly.
Yeah.
Every waking hour I was high. And so
we would play golf at a non-smoking facility, and I don't mean they don't have a specific weed rule, folks.
Right.
Just that no,
right.
we have played it with people that smoked, but
Yeah.
you would smoke like every third hole.
Yeah. Yeah,
Real
it was a problem. And I didn't realize how much of a problem it was until I quit. And she didn't realize. I mean, like she was always dealing with this stuff, but that was just who I was. Like from the time we met, I was high all the time. So she didn't know a different Jess.
Sure.
But I have realized how debilitating it was, and she has really, like, we talk about it, and she was like, it was awful. Like, just constantly, like, worrying, because you dwell on things, you get stuck in, like, this kind of cycle of thought where you're just looping the same shit. So if you're, like, the least bit scared about a thing, or you're depressed about a thing, you're just thinking about that, and you just burrow down deeper and deeper. So yeah, if I bring up like, oh, it'd be nice to smoke, she's like, no, you can't do it. I think if we, like, the only kind of scenario where I think it would be fine is if we're like on a camping trip, I have no responsibilities for days after, there's nothing to do, you know what I mean? Like, we don't have any tasks to take care of. We're just out alone, you know what I mean?
Let me ask you this, because you used to be a guy who thought that weed was an effective treatment for stuff.
I've had, to be fair, it does, what does weed do? Something in weed does protect the myelin sheath, which is what MS attacks. And I have had doctors that were like, yeah, weed is fine. Like, you can keep doing that because there are like some benefits, but I would say that the benefits in no fashion outweigh the just myriad of debilitating effects of weed.
So it became like a cure-all for some people. I'm not saying you, but
yeah, for sure.
And I've always thought it was like the dumbest thing in the world that people thought you could treat a depressant with a depressant. You could treat depression with a depressant that you have not, like, that you're fully self-administering, self-medicating, not, there's no regulation from yourself on the dose necessarily.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure people, like, there's some people who are like, gotta have one joint in the evening and then but I do think there's a thing with, like, panic begets more consumption, depression begets more consumption.
Yeah.
And so, like, with alcohol does not help depression. I think we can all agree that on the whole, alcohol does not help depression. Now, in a brief moment, alcohol can make you happier, but I would contend that it doesn't if you're not already kind of happy.
Right.
And I don't mean happy in life, I mean happy, like, circumstantially, right?
I think the thing is, it's just escapism, because if you drink a bit, you just, like, what do they say about addiction? You're not addicted to being high or being drunk. You're addicted to not being sober, because it's when you're sober that you feel shitty. But I will say,
just
like,
with weed?
I think just with anything. Like,
I think there's also people who have a physical dependency.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Which, by the way, like, I'm a little sensitive about this specific topic because of that clip that now is, like, going to be months past going viral, where people have been lecturing me on, and I agree with them, that, like, alcohol is really scary to quit cold turkey.
Yeah,
but I think that's probably right. I also think that, like, we have like a we're in a feast period as a species.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, you know, you can eat anything you want anytime you want. I could get DoorDash, have it delivered to my home. I don't have to be without, and that includes if I wanted to have as much alcohol as I wanted. I could literally have alcohol delivered to my home.
Right.
I don't know if you could probably get weed delivered to my house.
I don't know that there's a delivery service now. There was when, like, medical weed in Washington's been around since, like, the 90s or something like that. But when it really got popular, and there were dispensaries all over the place, which like wasn't a thing for a long time, even after medical was legal. But there was a company, I can't imagine they're still going, but they were a delivery service, and that was nice.
I don't remember why I looked this up. It's a thing that if you look it up, you kind of have to explain that you're not an addict, because I would have lower back pain. We've talked about it on the podcast, chronic-ish lower back pain. I mean, like, I've had it for a long time. I've gone to doctors about it. They're like, there's no acute event that caused this. Like, there's no obvious, like, tissue damage. I have whatever I have, right? When I drink alcohol, I have discovered I've only even thought about it in, like, the last 6 months. Mm-hmm. We're like, oh, my back doesn't hurt anymore. And then I went like, I wonder if anyone's doing any, and it's like, yeah, everyone thinks that alcohol is a great pain reliever. Yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm not saying that alcohol, it is probably first off, the fact that alcohol is addictive does not separate it from the rest of pain relievers, right? Like, pain relievers are very addictive. Yeah. It's got a lot of bad things about it. I'm not saying, again, the problem isn't really the substance. It's the overuse, recreational use, lack of regulation on dosage, whatever. I'm not saying you should go out and have a couple beers, but I in the same thing as in that same comment section, people demonize alcohol. It's a great pain reliever. And I'm like, well, I don't know about all that. Like, I kind of think everyone's stupid when they're using recreational substances for medicinal purposes. Like, I just don't think that, like, I think we overvalue. It's like we've given weed such like a spiritual place in our lives that it doesn't deserve.
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, it's
also, I haven't smoked in. You haven't smoked in a year. I haven't smoked it'll be 20 years.
Wow.
I think at some point in 2025. I don't have like, I didn't quit because like I entered a program or anything like that. I don't have like a sobriety date from weed, because I just quit because it started giving me panic attacks. Yeah. To go to the anxiety. Yeah. And because I got a job that tested. And then for like the next 10 years, I had jobs that tested. And then since then, I've had jobs that are like, maybe they test, maybe they don't. It's not really clear. Yeah. So like I didn't get tested, or I got tested, but they don't do random tests. I had a period of time where I got random tested like 6 times in a year, and most people it was like once every 2 years. Yeah. But I couldn't figure out. I don't think it was random. I think they were doing a little bit of cooking the books on how the dice rolled. But my wonder is if it was because they knew they wouldn't lose an employee. Right. If they tested me, as opposed to like, there was never traces coming back in my I said my semen almost.
You were doing that test wrong.
Maybe that's why they had to keep retesting.
He keeps jizzing in a cup. I don't know why this is happening.
It's a false negative, folks. It's a diluted sample. Yeah, I don't know what the reason was. I also had a thing where this guy that I worked with, I worked on a box factory, on a printing press, huge machine. Like this, it had these cylinders in it that were, and this was the medium-sized machine. They were 51-inch diameter, so big-ass metal cylinders that were spinning.
Girthy.
Girth, big-time girth. If you were to have been caught, you would come out of this machine as human confetti, basically. Like you were going to be. Yeah. And this guy would come in every Monday just like fucking flying. And then we worked until 2 a.m. and usually about 11 p.m. he would start to just crash. And like one time he's literally like, he's on a stack of what we call dunnage, which is just like this cardboard cut to size to protect the edges of loads. He was sitting on a stack of it just like chewing on his tongue and swaying back and forth. And we went to I was an assistant operator on this press, and the operator and I went to the supervisor. We're like, hey man, this guy's like a danger to himself. Yeah. He works very hard for the first 5 hours.
Right, yeah.
Very hard. Yeah. And then there's a problem. They're like, he had a brain injury many years ago. You guys are being like discriminatory. And I'm like, all right. And then later, he's literally like falling asleep on the back of this press. And you're like, oh, dude, like he's going to die.
Yeah.
You're going to kill him if you don't. I think the biggest hint that he did meth, though, was not coming in high, falling asleep, but is that he used to ride his bike up Petrovisky, the hill. Like, for folks that don't live here, he'd ride like directly, like steep grade uphill, 7 or 8 miles every night to get home. You're like, yeah, that guy's got to be on meth. Nobody that's not on meth is doing that.
Yeah. It is a. I was just thinking about this because you were talking about you haven't smoked weed. Do you remember? You remember like the last time that you smoked pot?
I remember like the last 20 times, but they all kind of are the same event where it's like, so I don't remember which one was the actual last time. I know one of the last times was for sure the last time that I smoked weed and drank at the same time, because we went to IHOP and I started to have a panic attack at the table.
Yeah.
And then I went into the bathroom to have the panic attack in the stall. And people kept coming in and checking on me, and then eventually I threw up all over the stall because I was just like freaking out.
Yeah. That is a funny thing with weed, where the people that don't anymore typically have where it'll switch on you.
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden you start getting like
it was abrupt,
really bad. Yeah. That's a very common tale. But what I was saying is I was thinking about this the other day. I don't remember the last time I did meth. I don't remember the last time I did coke. I don't have like that date, like, oh, I've been sober for this amount of years. Sure. I can say like roughly how long it's been, but I don't. I want to say the last time I did meth that I can like remember was when we were moving, and I was like carrying dressers by myself, and like it does give you freakish strength. Yeah. It's really interesting.
And stamina, I think, is probably the biggest thing. Yeah, that's I don't remember, like, the only reason I know I was 19 is because I got that job when I was 19.
Yeah.
And I got it about a month before my 20th birthday, and this was again, alcoholic-ish kind of thing. I was like, whatever job I have at 20, I'm keeping until I'm 21 so I can have a paid day off. Also, that's how bad the jobs I was taking were. Where they were like, you got to wait a whole year to get 1 day of paid vacation. Right. Yeah, that was like I was going to literally keep a job for 360. I ended up working there for like 5 or 6 years or 4 or 5 years. But
gotcha.
Yeah, that's the only reason I know. Not because the IHOP bathroom, Federal Way IHOP bathroom, sorry, shout out to the guy. Also, this guy did a thing that now, looking back, I know was a scam. He's like, yeah, our card readers aren't working, so you got to pay in whatever cash you guys have. And it was like, oh, you guys are just pocketing that fucking cash. Yeah. And smart, whatever, do what you got to do. But he also got to go clean up a pile of puke in the bathroom. So.
That's the balance.
Yeah.
That's the balance.
I did have one friend that was like, very obviously had cash, but was like just the cheapest friend I've ever had. And he chose not to pay. And so then we all covered his meal because he knew we would. So.
That's
a piece of shit.
That's
all right, we've reached the end of the podcast.
Have we already?
We have. We should talk about that.
That went fast.
Remind me of that friend sometime in the future, because I've got stories galore about that piece of shit. All right, bye everybody.
All right, bye everybody.